Hi everybody, and thanks for stopping by, and welcome to the Tea and Trails podcast, and thanks Phoenix Light for sponsoring this week's interview. The best design comes from the actual needs of users. Phoenix takes providing mobile lighting products with excellent performance as the goal and born for harsh environments as its mission. Never forget why you started, and your mission can be accomplished. Head over to www.phoenixlight.co.uk to find out more. Don't forget, patrons can enjoy 10% off, and all you lovely listeners get 5% off with the code TNT5. All the discount codes are either in the description, Linktree, or Patreon. I bet your headlights, with everybody doing Markathon, those headlamps
heavy
will
rotation.
be getting...
Always give the fastest one, the one that potentially the battery might die or is not right.
I have the fear because I just have to do the little battery test, but luckily I think I've got 3 to choose from, so one of them is always going to get me home at least.
I used to run home from the stables in my wellies, pitch black, raw blisters, none of this head torch malarkey, or I'd have the handheld, the big heavy one. The battery used to go.
It's never happened to me, I don't think, but have you ever had to get yourself off the trail with like your mobile phone light?
Yes, my first time I ran the Autumn 100 and my battery went, and anybody who knows the bit back from Reading, and I had both my head torches died. Oof. And I had to use my mobile phone.
I've leached off other people a few times. But,
I think I leached off somebody then for the run-in as well. What a lovely chat we've just had with the lovely Joe Turner. I can't put into words when he described his training schedule, and I was so tired. Just he does all the same amount of running I do in a week, in a day, but he's also freakishly fast, so he must be covering a lot of miles. Really lovely to hear his story from road to trail, him carrying that speed over to trail as well, and then the exciting news that he's going to be a new dad in the new year and how he's going to juggle all that as well. And he's not shy at telling us all his learnings, where things have gone wrong, what he's learned, what he has, how he thinks, but super dedicated, super motivated individual as well. I think I need a little scoop of Joe in my morning coffee as well to try and I'm too often to change sessions to do less. I never do more.
It's a treat, these episodes, because I follow events like Centurion, so I see Joe cropping up time and time again. But yeah, this platform gives us the opportunity to talk to people, and I think pretty much all of his success is down to me because we had a little unwitting encounter.
Yeah, and he definitely remember. It wasn't awkward at all when you talked about it, and you were like, I've raced you before and smashed you.
Don't know about that.
Lace up and lean in, guys. Here we go. Here's our chat with Joe.
Hey Gary, hi Eddie.
Hi Joe.
How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Yourselves?
Yeah, well, thans. Very well. Thanks for joining us. I know it's lunchtime, trying to squeeze it all in, but appreciate that.
No, it's a pleasure. It feels, hit the big leagues of podcasting.
That's what we like. That's what we'll use for our Instagram.
Peek behind the curtain, though, Joe. We'll disappoint you.
Not at all.
How's Storm Bram? I'm currently avoiding it. It's a bit wet. I think Eddie's getting battered. Has it made its way down to Cambridgeshire?
It was raining a bit this morning, but it doesn't seem too bad. But I've got a session later, so we'll see see what it's like by then.
What's it going to be? What's your session?
So I train usually on Tuesday nights with the Cambridge Coleridge crew. So there's a lot of incredibly fast young lads as well, so it's a bit of a reality check, but it's free lots of 3x4 minutes, so probably pretty quick
chunk. That's the psychology of Stu Holiday the other week. So you're going to be training with some kind of 400 meters and 800 meters runners, are you? I bet
they're usually like sort of 8:15, but then there's also like a load of there's some of the guys who are like 5K, some guys who are, like 10K marathon, but they're all just like super quick. Like, one of the guys ran, 2:15 at Valencia the other day and that sort of thing. So it's, pretty sharp stuff. 20 odd or so people who can run sub 15 for 5K in that group. So it's,
wow, that's incredible. Our paths crossed in 2013. I've looked at your Power 10. Apologies for the deep dive. I did the Marathon of the North, and you did the half marathon of the North in 2013. It was the short, I think it was the short course that year.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
It's going to fill up my tea.
I'm not too sure what the Instagram was like those days, but there was definitely Facebook. And I remember I was like loitering around the Stadium of Light, and everybody had their Garmins up, and it was like 26.1, or it was like fury. Going back to 2020. 2013 then. What were your running goals back then?
Asking. Why are you asking podcast questions?
We're recording it. We'll just roll with it. Sorry, I get told off.
No, it's fine.
Anyway, I will ask you before we start properly. I'm in a dilemma. So big FOMO for Valencia. I've done Valencia before, so I'm fortunate. I fancy Malaga. And Amsterdam. What do you reckon, Joe?
So I've never done Malaga. I've done the half at Amsterdam and wasn't overly taken with the kind of course and things. It's a lot of kind of just like, I remember, not feeling that great. Valencia is amazing. I went there like six years ago, I think, and came, top 100 with 223. That doesn't get you anywhere near that anymore. So it's I would 100% recommend Valencia. I think they're changing it to a ballot though, I heard, which is ideal.
I've just been looking. It's like there's like a preferential loyalty deadline, 4 days. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, that's what they used to do. That if you ran it this year, you could like get advanced entry, which kind of makes it a bit of a closed shop almost. But it's obviously it's kind of made all of the marathons obsolete, unfortunately, because it's so quick. But
when it's oversubscribed, yeah, you're right. It does make the kind of the ballot pretty much obsolete. But I know it's like literally there is 26.2 miles, but that blue carpet finish at the end,
it's good. Yeah, I was in a pretty bad state by that point, but yeah, it was nice.
Did you watch Andor, Star Wars? I'm not too sure if you like sci-fi.
Yeah, no.
So
good,
that is where they film a big chunk of it in the exhibition centre.
Wow. Oh, cool. Fun fact. So my godfather, who's like my mum's cousin, is in Rogue One. And yeah. And I think he's also in a bit of Andor maybe because he's like the same character. He has like one line essentially in Rogue One. He's one of like the rebel generals or whatever. It's cool.
Oh, that is a life goal. Unbelievable.
Yeah, he said like the set was like super strict, because they're not allowed to like take props and things like that. But it was it's very, very cool.
In a previous life, I used to be a model maker, like an industrial model maker. So we'd make toys for Hasbro. That was the only time I had to sign a non-disclosure agreement. That was lockdown. Sorry, I'm going loads of questions here.
No,
I ordered, this is a food admin question. Eddie, you can answer me. So I ordered some cheese online. It was supposed to turn up on Friday. It didn't turn up. It arrived yesterday. It felt cold, but the ice packs are defrosted. What do? Do I send it back? Do I eat it? What's your face, Eddie?
Why are you ordering cheese? You've done. Gary keeps. Is this another Instagram purchase?
It's a Scandinavian kitchen, so we get a little bit of Scandinavian cheese to remind Lisa of family roots.
I just eat it. Cheese is just cheese, isn't it? Does it go off? Isn't it meant to be mouldy?
It hasn't been too warm recently. No, it's been warmer than it has been, so you might be all right.
Your PC van lay by for the weekend.
Yeah. When has it been? I would try and get your money back, but you probably need my dad to do that because you need someone retired who can spend the whole day.
I've got to send them a stern email. Yeah. That's what I'll do. From the winding trails of Wendover Woods to the sun-scorched switchbacks of Arizona's Black Canyon 100K, Joseph Turner runs with purpose, grit, and a story in every stride. A GB athlete with a heart for the hills and a mind wired for endurance, Joseph has carved out a reputation not just for his results, but for the way he races, with humility, humour, and a relentless drive to grow. In this episode, we dive into the moments that shaped him, the breakthrough performances, the setbacks that taught him more than any podium, and the quiet rituals that fuel his fire. From his early days chasing splits to representing Great Britain on the international stage, Joseph brings insight, honesty, and a few trail-tested laughs. So whether you're out on a long run or just need a spark of inspiration, AI loves a lace up and lean in. Lace up and lean in. This is the story behind the splits. Welcome to the show, Joseph Turner. Thanks for joining us today, Joe. Appreciate your time.
No, thanks for having me both. As I said, it's very much the big leagues of podcasting. And is that AI confirming that I'm funny as well? That's I'm going to tell my wife that.
I inserted that very quickly after our quick introduction. He's quite a funny guy.
Tell me about these rituals. Sometimes I'm not too sure where AI gets on.
That's exactly what I was going to ask. These rituals.
No, I don't think I have any rituals, to be honest. So quite like
okay.
Pre-race. quite a fan of like gnocchi or a pizza, but other than that,
Do you still chase the splits, or are you a bit more kind of zen like?
chasing the splits. Yeah, sometimes do some track work in the summer with some of the speedsters at the club. Switching from like the marathon to like ultra running kind of takes you away from the splits, which has been super refreshing, to be honest.
Yeah.
And actually, because if you're marathon training and you don't hit your marathon pace in a workout, and you're like, at the end, it's a disaster, right? Because you're like, oh, I need to do this for 26 miles. How can I not do it for a 10-minute rep? But actually, if you're tired because of a long day at work, because you've been building up the training, it's actually harder to hit than you think. And on the day, so actually kind of taking away from the splits in a way has been quite, refreshing.
We talked about last week with Lizzie about she dropped quite a few people on her Paddy Buckley round, but those people hadn't tapered. They might have had a long day at work, and then they're going to try and do a screaming support leg on a Paddy. Curious though, you said about the switch from the roads to the trails. When you're on the start line in 2013 at the Sunderland Half Marathon, what did you think your future would be?
Honestly, I would never have thought I'd be in the place where I am now. So I kind of took, I'd always run a little bit when I was sort of younger, but I didn't step on a track until university. So I went to uni in Newcastle. Second year, did the Great North Run because everyone does it up there. Didn't really train for it then, but ran, a sort of solid enough time, around like 90 minutes or something. And then was like, oh, maybe I'm actually, okay at running. Joined the cross country and athletics club at uni in like my third year, and kind of it's spiraled from there, I guess. But yeah, back in the day, I mean, if you'd said, there were times where I'm like, oh, I'm never going to run a marathon. It's amazing how things can change quite significantly with time.
Yeah, I've looked at your power at 10. My goodness me, it feels like you raced pretty much every month and even multiple times some months. How are you feeling, Joe? December now, a busy year of racing.
It has been a busy year. Yeah, it's been one of those, it's almost been a year of, to some extent, like chasing, following disappointment in a way. I know you mentioned Arizona in that AI where I absolutely stacked it about 20 miles into the race, had blood all over my knee. My hands were completely shredded. My knee had swollen up, and so had to cut that at halfway because it was either, drop out or it was finished, but do quite significant damage to my body. Probably had to like walk for about best part of 10 miles to get to the aid station where my crew would be. And that was obviously disappointing. And so that kind of then started the pivot towards, so I did 100 hills quite sort of shortly after that. And then I kind of used some 50K races as training runs for obviously South Downs 100, which again, didn't really go to plan because Cambridge is flat, obviously, so not a lot of hills, and I don't quite have, the desire to get on the uphill treadmill as much as you guys do.
You just need to try.
Yeah. And so, the kind of, going to do like a 50K or something, and obviously the Chilterns are obviously within, I can get there and back in the day from Cambridge, hence the races all around there. Obviously South Downs 100 was another big focus, which again had to stop in that because of hamstrings just weren't playing ball by 100K or whatever. Again, it's kind of like 100 miles is probably, I'll consider it again in the future. It's just about, it seems like it's a war of attrition and just finishing no matter sort of how much pain you're in. So fair play to Mark and all those guys. But that obviously then led to pivots of like Chiltern Wonderland and then Wendover Woods. And also I was out in Sweden for the UTMB one. So it's been busy just because there's not really been like outside of, after the South Downs in the back half of the year, there's not really been like an A goal as such. It's kind of just like, oh, there's not really anything. Let's just play about, to be honest.
You play the dangerous game.
It is yeah, absolutely. And so it's like kind of a mix. Like I want to support the UK races as well, because quite often it'd be great to get more people, more high quality people as well, increase the fields of some of these races and actually race against some, best of British rather than having to go abroad or go to UTMB or go to UTMB World Series races. So, hopefully others can, maybe start, then we start seeing, these course records getting better and better and better, and demonstrating the trails that we have in the UK outside of, just Snowdonia, UTS, Snowdonia, the Arc, which I'm going to the Arc 25 actually. And what's the other, and then like the Spine, I guess, there's only a few UK races that get a lot of the attention.
Sometimes I think it's a bit of luck, isn't it? Because I think sometimes the fields just align because, you know, 4 or 5 people decide they're going to do that race, but it's not due to anything other than they will, like, sometimes Lakeland 100 is really competitive. Sometimes the Spine is really competitive, and then the next year it's not. And I think it's just the nature of living. We're diluted living on the island. Living on an island, and people and the appetite to go abroad and do races with different scenery, sunshine, less bog.
So do you reflect on 2025? Is that like a positive, as you say here in December, is it feel positive or negative emotions?
I think it has to be positive largely. I think it's been a fairly solid year. It's been like different to what I've usually done. You know, I was reflecting after Wendover Woods 50, where I think I went through the 50k mark like faster than I did the night 50k like 3 or 4 years ago or whatever. And obviously running at night is a lot harder. And I think my stomach was in absolute agony from about 5 minutes into that race because trying to eat at like 10 o'clock at night or whenever it starts. But like, you know, when you do like that, you know, when the pace is faster, it's like, oh, you know, I think I reflect on 2025 thinking back like further almost, being like, oh, you know, when I started, you know, ultra running or whatever, I've learned like so much over that period, and just kind of, reflecting on all the other things that I've kind of managed to do. And especially when you look back even further, Gary, like, you know, to 2013, right? That, like I said, there'd been no told me back then that, you know, I'd have sort of achieved what I have done. Very hungover. I don't drink anymore. I haven't drunk for a while. My wife doesn't either. But at university, I don't know how I drank so much. Just even thinking about it now. All the Trevel's bars in Newcastle, if you know, if you know, you know.
I'm curious about the Black Canyon. What took you, I suppose, was that on paper one of your A races? And I'm assuming maybe like a gateway potentially to, would it be Western States, like a lottery ticket event? Yeah,
the idea around Black Canyon was, it was probably a bit of a tight turnaround from the World Championships, which were in December. So it was like start of December to start of February. Yeah, because it's golden ticket race. I think the top 3 got tickets that year, which is obviously, you know, fairly aspirational goal, but kind of going to have a crack just to see. Obviously, a lot of those American guys are insanely talented. Yeah, so it was kind of like, ticking multiple things, right, Gary, in terms of it was the Western States golden ticket, Western States lottery entry. Honestly, like, it was so beautiful. Like the start, you kind of like came up and then you can sort of see across the desert and it's like the sun's coming up as you're sort of like going down, because the first half's like net downhill. And it was absolutely amazing. I did hit a cactus like 10k in. And so like when I finally stopped, I was pulling all these like spikes out of my shoe. And then obviously ended up falling over. So it wasn't my best work. It's a cool race. I'd love to go back and have another crack. The start is insane because it starts on like a sort of athletics track. The first 5k of that race was fast. I ran that faster than I ran the first 5k of the 100k World Championships. And I was in like 30th place or something. And obviously like all these guys detonate and drop out. And I was obviously one of those this year. But I'd love to go back and just race it more sensibly, because you had people like Riley Brady kind of just come through and finish in like the top 10 overall, even though she was obviously nowhere near like the top at the start. So cool race.
I'm a completer, and it might puzzle me why somebody DNFs, but you're at the sharp end. So is your mind thinking, look, I've got a busy year ahead, I could hobble this in, but it might be at the expense of a different race?
It's getting that balance right? Because you don't want to get into this serial DNFing of, oh, I'm not having the best day, because you're going to have bad patches in any ultra. And so if you dropped out as soon as it got hard, then that would be, you know, that's not productive. Essentially, it's been because I've not been able to actually like physically run. And so when that can't happen, it's kind of like, well, weighing up in your head of how much damage am I going to do here, or do I stop and then rest for a few days and then I can kind of get better, rather than, so you're talking about days off rather than weeks off just to finish. And it would have been nice to finish, you know, South Downs or Black Canyon, but I might have not been able to do plenty of those other races that I did do this year. So it's getting that balance right of, you know, you've only got so many bullets per year, how to use those wisely, I guess, without doing too much damage.
Yeah. I know this was a DNF, not maybe through nutrition or dehydration, but we sometimes learn more from a DNF than a victory. Any kind of learnings from that race?
Absolutely. So Black Canyon pacing. I think
you in the top 30.
Probably most of the field could learn about pacing based on the number of DNFs. I think I haven't actually gone and checked, but the amount of people I'll probably do DNF at some point. So yeah, pacing 100% from Black Canyon. Probably should have also used ice a bit earlier on. Same for South Down, so I didn't learn from that properly. Yeah, pacing in terms of making sure that you've got a lot even at halfway in the race, because I probably wasn't picking my feet up enough because I was more tired than I should have been, and that then leads you to falling over. It's obviously not like direct correlation or whatever, but it kind of helped. South Downs, I think what I learned from that was definitely actually the hydration point of view. I'm not sure if the cramps got really bad because of it was a hot day. My crew, God bless them, missed me at a pretty at a point I would have quite liked them to be there, but it's not their fault at all. Like, they're trying their best. Signal around the South Downs is really hard to work out, and it was really like the tracking wasn't working properly. It's not their I've told them many a times it's not their fault, but definitely like hydration and making sure that I hydrate. I did like a heat study at the start of the year, and I'm a very heavy sweater, so making sure I get that back in is important.
Have you been down to the lab, Precision Fuel and Hydration, to do all that?
It was part of Precision, but it was a guy in Bedfordshire, Sean Sage, his name was. I'm looking forward to seeing the study. It was pretty hardcore actually, because it was like it's full like cannula, rectal thermometer. You have to the treatment was like drinks. You're getting weighed like naked weight behind a screen. Like, those,
I've done the
like
naked weigh-in before. Yeah,
and it was like you do an hour steady. So I was doing I think it was like 350 Ks for an hour at 30 degrees. And then after that, you go straight into a 5K time trial at 30 degrees, where you had to go obviously as fast as you can on the treadmill, but you don't have any idea about how fast you're going. Like they set it based on like a pre-calibration based on what you sort of run before, and you do your VO2 max test, and then all you have is a button to go up and down. He held up like 4K to go, 3K to go, 2K to go. It honestly felt like I was running about 8 kilometers. Like it was.
Were you just watching him going? Is he going for the pat? Is he doing this? Going to do? Oh my god!
It was
horrendous.
It was awful, honestly. But it was awful in the sort of fun that we like part of way. And when you finish it, you just it was crazy, because what they were testing was like salt content in the drinks. And so that was kind of because you do like three tests. One was just water, one was sort of semi-salted, one was highly salted. But he also gave me tablets, and he said at first during the study those tablets meant that the salt was the same at all times. And at the end he was like, "Oh yeah, that was rubbish. The tablets are placebos."
Cheeky placebo. I love it.
Because you can taste obviously if it's salty or not. But it was amazing actually, because I think I ran about like 40 seconds slower with the water than I did with the salted treatments, and ran slightly quicker with the highly salted than the moderate one, but there was a huge difference. So yeah.
Was there a huge difference in your perceived exertion as well with the salt?
Yeah, it definitely wasn't as bad as the water, because by that point you're absolutely like cooked. Or I was, certainly.
Just remind me to block this guy from our email inbox in case he's listening and goes, "You guys should come and do this study." It
was super cool.
Why the rectal thermometer? We both got core
just
sensors.
Temperature.
Okay.
Just getting temperature. It's more accurate than core.
Much more accurate and instantaneous.
Yeah, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, you can't go until your temperature falls below a certain point as well." So it's but yeah, you're like doing this 5K time trial with like the cannula in and stuff, and you got like all these bandages, you got all these like covered in like these like various like skin temperature sensors. You're doing like the sweat tests. It was super interesting. Yeah, really cool. And like you had to have like these 2 packets of porridge that he gave you with just water, like no honey or anything. So it's just like plain porridge and a bottle of water beforehand. That's all you can have for breakfast. And then you have 60 grams of precision hydration chews during the steady state. It was all super standardized. It was really good study design. Yeah.
Can we jump back a bit, Joe? Because we've jumped into your racing this year, which is super incredible. You've had some incredible results, but I kind of like that little bit of the journey between 2013 and what took you from the roads to the trails. Is there a story there? Are you the classic? Okay.
The big jump from marathon to ultra was COVID, essentially, right? Because all the races shut down. I was probably in like the best marathon shape of my life then, and then all the races stopped, and so I ended up doing it's like the Round Reading 50K, because it was one of like the first races to come out. I just went down there, and it's actually like one of my highest scoring UTMB index races. Like so I was obviously in good shape, right? Remember when it was like you're only allowed out once per day,
that's
or
right,
whatever, but there was obviously and some cyclists taking it to the extreme. But I was essentially doing like 20-mile runs like 2 or 3 times per week because I was just smashing everything together. And then my coach was like, hey, this is actually working quite well. And then obviously things like, the England team for the ACP kind of became an option. And so then kind of, very much got stuck into that. Otherwise, it was just like, just running in the Northeast, running for, the uni and then some of the clubs up there where I sort of lived and worked. I then went out to Australia to do my PhD and had kind of time to, do some of the track stuff out there, joined a club. And
what do you do for work, Joe?
So I'm an environmental consultant, so marine biology focused. PhD was on like coral reefs in the Ningaloo Marine Park in Western Australia. If you ever get the chance, 100% go. It is beautiful. Yeah, kind of ran, my like track PBs and things like that out there. Kind of got the opportunity, I guess, to be able to take training a bit more seriously while I was out there.
Were you out at 5 a.m. just in your shorts, sweating? That's what's all over my gram. Anybody training in Australia?
Not quite 5 a.m., but it was... some days it got pretty hot, so we'd have to like push training back so it was a bit later, or you actually just go and take the heat adaptations. I feel like because that kind of led into me doing my first marathon was like at the end of my PhD, so I was going to finish in February, so I went and did Houston Marathon in January because I wanted a fast course essentially, and that was kind of worked out best at the time. Trained through the Aussie summer, which was great. There's some amazing places to train and get the hills in as well, and then ran Houston, and that went very well. Well, yeah, it sort of went better than I thought. I kind of went in thinking I'd run about, sub 2:30 was the goal. Ran the first half in like 74:30 and then closed in like just under 71 minutes. So ran like a huge negative split. It was actually at the time like my second fastest ever half marathon in the second half. So it was from there I kind of, was like, okay, maybe marathons are a better fit here. I've never quite had the sort of fast twitch muscles. I ran steeplechase quite a lot, was kind of my like thing. And I ran like between 9:28 and 9:33 loads of times. And I was just like, I remember like I finished a race and I phoned my wife and I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I've run the same time again. Just like, I'm not getting any better. What's the point? And I signed up for like Frankfurt Marathon and then, kind of sort of, went from there. And then, then COVID obviously came in and switched to ultras. So it's kind of been so it wasn't
a fall out of love with the marathon. It was it's just solely, if you go from steeplechase and then enter Frankfurt on your way home, you're not scared of making a big change.
No, exactly. I think it was just, obviously Houston went so well and I was like, tried a bit more of the track and then was like, nope, that's it. Marathon, Frankfurt, go do that. That went well. Valencia, again, sort of went well. So it was, look, this is probably where I can get more improvement. I think I was seeing the improvement, right, going in, and rather than just running like a second faster or the same time again and again, it was like, oh, wow, this was a huge improvement. And, obviously social media isn't what it is now, but like, when you run a marathon and you have like people like, commenting or whatever, it's like Facebook back then. This is like how far back that is. I don't think anyone comments on Facebook anymore. Like, you hear from, older people. And so it's that kind of positive reinforcement. You're like, oh, this is probably quite good. With the track stuff as well as even marathons, you can almost forget it's a hobby at times as well and start taking it maybe a bit too seriously. I know I definitely had sort of like maybe semi-unhealthy relationship with things like food and things, which I've definitely gotten over now. I've worked with a sports dietitian after I got a stress fracture at one point and those sorts of things, because I think when I ran some of those track PBs, I was weighing like 68 kilos and I'm like 6'3", and now I weigh like 77 kilos, and I have done for the past few years. And so it's like, that's a pretty big like difference kind of thing. And so I'm glad that now I've kind of been through that almost, because it means that you see all these like fads or supplements on Instagram, which you just don't need, to be honest. Like, it's a glorified hobby at the end of the day. And I think ultra running's really helped me with that as well, and actually finding the enjoyment there, especially on the trails where it is less about splits and things like that.
I think it's hard not to get drawn into that food around performance, because you look at the people and goodness me, I'm not comparing myself to these people who win Valencia Marathon, for example, but their bodies don't look like mine. So I can really see how, and I'm probably guilty of it too, I can see how people do end up going down that road of underfueling fundamentally. But I suppose you probably agree with this, Joe. As soon as you start eating more, you work out and you race a lot better.
Absolutely. Like, I think I wouldn't say I was like actively trying not to eat enough. It was more that when spoke to a sports dietitian, kept a food diary, and she was like, "This is like largely good, but it's just not enough." And when you eat, like, I was eating twice as much as my wife, like all these times, and so you think you're eating enough. It's not super noticeable that you are like you can put feeling tired down to just fatigue, right, rather than other things. And so, but definitely like mood and things have improved once you start to that's the big one, right?
I think that's being on the trails as well, Joe. It's just a nicer place. The mud, the slosh, the trees, turning your watch off.
I mean, because that's why we do it, right? Like obviously, like, as kind of like ecologist, and you love being outside with nature, and that's kind of why. That's also why I try to avoid the treadmills and things like that, because I just like being outside, right? And we've got nice lakes and things near where I live, so I like watching the birds and all that sort of stuff. So it's that's what we do. We do it to see these amazing landscapes, wildlife, etc.
What does a typical week look like for you now? That you are more of a trail and ultra runner. How is that different from perhaps a typical week? I have a question before you answer that. I've got another question about when we watch the steeplechase, and like, because you really only see it maybe in the Diamond League and then in the Olympics. Like, do you train when you're running? Do you do your sessions over the barriers, or do you not train? Do you do like a hurdle session? Because sometimes people look like they've not practiced on those barriers.
I'd say I've probably done less than 10 specific hurdle sessions in my life.
Suspicions are agreed.
And so, I think you're very spot on with that. Like, you sometimes do like drills and things, to be honest. Like, try and do that.
They're quite
maybe
high,
in the
aren't they? They are high.
Yeah. Absolutely. Like if you hit that, I mean, you see that when they do hit it in, I think it was like Germa in the Olympics, right? Where he like knocked himself flat out. It's I just rely on being tall, to be honest. And I would my hurdling technique probably left something to be desired.
Are you a foot on guy? Are you foot on? Or are you
on the water jump? But not on the other ones. Because you lose too much time otherwise if you did it on every one.
How hard is that last hurdle on that steeplechase?
The last lap of a steeple, I think there's quite a few steeplechasers who have become ultra runners, and I think it does translate semi-well. Just in terms of like
your soul on that last lap.
And like that, getting the effort right and things like that, because when you do get over that last water jump and then that last barrier, you just got to like save just enough to be able to do it right. And there's that the American guy Evan Yeager retired last week, I think, but there's that obviously that Diamond League where he was about to break 8 minutes, and like the first white guy essentially to break 8 minutes, and he tripped on the last barrier and then had to get up and just missed it. And it's like, because it's just getting that like balance of energy correct.
It always seems to be like it's not a popular event where it should be, because watching it is incredible. It's a great spectator. It's not like watching a 10K on the track, which, no offense, it's dull, isn't it? Because you're like, I'm here for the bell, really, and then the rest of it is. But anything can happen, and it's so you can just see how hard it is as well. The jeopardy of it is great.
Yeah, I guess it's just money, right? Because they even cut it out of the Diamond League a couple of years ago and then brought it back in. So I think it's just where can athletes make money? And ultimately, that's all on the roads now, right? Which is why you see this.
Put it on the roads, put the barriers on the roads. You got to go through Auntie Nan's back window over the sofa. Thanks for humouring me. I've always wondered that. So let's jump back into what's a typical week look for you, Joe, now that you're more on the trails more? Is it different, or do you still follow the same sort of vibe? Being
honest, it's pretty similar. I think we've kind of always trained like a fast marathoner almost. Like it's pretty sort of similar setup. Obviously, there'll be a few more hill sessions possibly, and I'll try and, like I say, I kind of use those extra races sometimes as that kind of training effort, because so Monday is pretty much always gym in the morning. I'll do like 10 miles in the evening. Tuesday is like today is like, so I'll do 10K in the morning, and then I'll run to training, which is about 8K, do the session, and then run home afterwards, which
that's mega. That is
sometimes
big.
a big room. So that's a big Tuesday. And then Wednesday is the same as Monday. So and then Thursday is usually like double runs, and that'll sort of vary between like 10K to 10 miles. And if I'm feeling good, then maybe I'll progress a little bit to sort of steady running, or it'll just be easy if I'm tired. Friday can be rest day, or I can do maybe like 30 minutes. I try and do a bit of like hot yoga every now and again. My wife got me into that. But I've done that less because she's been pregnant, so can't do the hot yoga.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I actually really enjoyed that. I enjoyed it as like heat prep for when I went out to India, and I sweat a lot. I used to run there, and then so I'd be sweating at the start and then go through it. And I used to like say that I probably brought up the humidity about like 5% just
And they
on
were
my
like,
own.
oh no, that sweaty guy's here.
Yeah. I was probably like, oh god, yeah, who's this absolute weirdo? But yeah, you get some funny looks, right, when you're laid in the gym, and so you kind of get used to it. And then kind of like Saturday can be, yeah, it's usually like sort of session, sort of longish sort of session in the morning. Sunday's like long run. So it's quite often do like sort of back-to-back things on Saturday, Sunday. So it depends where you are in the block though, right? When it's getting to the real meaty stuff, that gets quite big. But at the moment, when we're kind of like starting to build back up, it's less meaty because, yeah, I've done some pretty, as I'm sure you guys have, when you get into like the kind of here, the key sessions, and I'll never go out for like crazy long distance, but we'll sort of split it up. So I've done like, sort of 3 hours easy in the morning, I'll cover about a marathon. And then in the evening, I'll go and do like 4 by 10 minutes threshold.
Ooh.
That's a big old day. And yeah, but I know that I'm fit when I can sort of, progress often on those 10-minute reps, and that's probably what's going to come in the next few months, because I'll probably try and go back to the Anglo-Celtic Plate, which is the 100k UK champs on the road. Do that in March, which is 3 weeks after our baby's due date. So we'll see how that goes. I've gotten the okay to go, but we'll see how
see how that one goes. Yeah.
How do you feel that sort of like, let's say for instance, maybe the Tuesday or the double day Sunday, like how do you feel? You feeling all those runs while you're fueling?
It's sometimes hard, right? Especially so on like, the 40k and then the threshold in between those is really hard, right? I'll fuel on the runs, obviously, as much as I can.
Are you a gel guy? Are you
very much so.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, just smashing the gels.
What's your gel of choice?
Precision is probably up there. Precision Flow Gel is what I go for in most races, because the Soar running shorts, so I'm lucky to work with them. The trail shorts are so good because you can essentially fit like the Flow Gel flask.
You'd be able to get a baby in there. No problem.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
with his head up, you can just
why not? Eh? Yeah, get them in the pack or whatever. But
are they zero bounce, Joe? Because that's always a big thing for me. Once
zero bounce. You don't even notice it's there, and there's like extra pockets for like the Euro bits and bobs. So it's that's probably like gel of choice. I sometimes don't train with it all the time because it's a bit expensive, unless they want to come and send some my way. It's always appreciated. But like I'm fairly lucky that most seem okay. Like, science and sports seem good, never second are good. But yeah, essentially making sure that, especially on those big days, that you are hitting like the carb stuff. And like to training tonight, I always take like a carb mix bottle and I'll have that after each rep. Not many people are doing at the session.
Do you make sure you tell them? Do you say, it's already guys, my 50k, and then
I think most of them sort of know that by now. It's it's kind of it's funny trying to like either keep up with them or being like, hey look guys, I've done all this today.
Wait, mate, how sad are you sometimes on that run home on that Tuesday night? Or are you really
it can honestly be grim. Like some days if you have a good session and the weather's nice, it's not too bad. Tonight could start raining by that point, and we'll see how the session goes.
Is that when you call your wife and you're like, the sausage is in because I'm going to need to eat the minute I come through the door, get the potatoes?
So I do all the cooking actually. So I get in and then I make dinner. I usually make something that's quite easy on those nights, or like pre-prep it or whatever, so it is a bit quicker. In terms of like fueling, my go-to is kind of like almost like probably over a liter of like smoothie. So I'll put like 3 bananas in, a load of porridge oats, then I have like a couple of scoops of protein powder, soy milk, and then water. And that's like a way to get a lot of like a lot of calories in, I feel, quite quickly. But then it's also about like when you do not maybe hit the amount, just catch up in the next day or so, because then the next day will be easier, right? So you just keep eating as you do. And it's almost the same for like a taper as well, slash carb load, where I'll just eat as I normally eat, maybe a few more like carb drinks or whatever on, you know, the day before or whatever. But just that, I think that's like an easy way of kind of not making yourself feel too sick while keeping like the balance, right?
Have you always been lucky, like pretty injury free?
Kind of had only two major injuries. One was like with my Achilles. This was ages and ages ago, where I actually went and saw someone and I've got like orthotics that go in my shoes, and so that solved that very quickly, which was great. So if anyone's having Achilles trouble and you've not got kind of like the sort of 3D printed or whatever orthotics, it's a great investment. Would recommend. And then I got a stress fracture. Yeah, so this would have been 2022, 2023, something like that. I think I tried to do a bit too much. I went from like the ACP to doing another 100k race on the South Downs, and then got sacral stress fracture, which is, you know, the injury of choice nowadays. Some people like to say it's due to super shoes or whatever. I think it's just I just probably wasn't fueling enough and did too much effort, to be honest. And that really like opened my eyes, right? So just kind of like take it as an opportunity. So, you know, work with a sports dietitian. I hadn't been going to the gym because of COVID, essentially, and I never enjoyed it. So it was a case of, hey, look, you know, COVID means you don't have to go to the gym anymore. So I just stopped going. I started working with a strength and conditioning coach after that. And then she got me essentially back in great shape because, yeah, I missed from July to December. I didn't run. But then in the March ACP, I ran 100k PB and came second to Jarlath in Northern Ireland. So it kind of went from no running to 3 months later running 100k PB.
Wow.
And that
were you cross training as well as
no? So that's the other thing, right? Like I was doing strength stuff 3 times a week, and I was cycling to and from the gym. My cycling is not cycling though. Like I'm pootling along on this like 15-year-old mountain bike. Actually, no, more than that. It's like 20-year-old mountain bike. Maybe doing like occasional cross train. I didn't do any sessions though. I did a bit of swimming actually, but again, just like lengths rather than efforts. So it's just kind of ticking over. I'm sure I could have maybe got fitter by taking it seriously, but maybe not. It's hard. It's sometimes hard to know. It's just I don't have the time really to fit in the cross training around the running, so I don't really do it too much anymore though.
No, imagine the smoothie consumption if you added cross training in.
I know. Yeah.
Bananas.
Yeah.
You are smoking fast, so for us, like my wheels fall off maybe like 10 or 12, maybe a little bit longer into the race. You're usually finished a race by then. How is your gut when you're trying to ram in all this carbohydrate basically?
I'm probably one of the lucky people who's generally the gut has been quite good. I've obviously trained that as well. You know, in training, you kind of, you know, don't do what you don't do on race day, what you what you don't do. You know, at the end of a race, you obviously, you know, your stomach is probably in bits, and you're like, no matter where you are, you don't really want to eat. So yeah, I mean, I've, you know, kind of having managed to embrace the high carb fueling stuff. So looking at 120 grams per hour, but that's also because I'm using it as well. Like I imagine if, you know, you are going a bit slower, and I noticed this as well, like, you know, when I've kind of done like 100-mile attempts and things where you just, if you don't need quite as much and just kind of going on feel in a way. I think I accidentally in the race in Sweden, the UTMB race in Sweden that I did like a month or so ago, because I had like the drink mix as well as 90 grams. I think I probably had about 200 grams of carbs in an hour and then threw up quite spectacularly at about 30 odd K. I'm going to go back to not having the drinks. This is something I spoke to Precision about actually.
They would say that to you too, wouldn't they?
Yeah. Essentially just have carbs in your gel, have salt tablets, and have water, and that works best for me. So I try and like stick to that now. Any time where I have like crew and stuff, I'll have everything kind of under the sun that I can think of. Oh, I might want that. And yeah, things can change, because actually at Race to the Stones, where it was that massive heat wave this year, it was like, I think it hit like 38 degrees really that day. I ended up grabbing one of the drink mixes and kind of mixing it like very quickly, kind of like, you know, the boot of my mom's car, and using that when I hadn't really planned on it beforehand, because it was just so hot and you just kind of wanted the fluids in. It's sometimes hard to guess, right? And you just got to sort of prepare for as many things as you can. Sometimes it's obviously hard, and having crew really helps, or getting your drop bags, like, you know.
Do you have the same crew all the time? Little crew that you lean on?
Yeah, like Team Turner of my wife, my my mum and my mum's partner. They recently got married actually, and I sort of said how I don't think he ever envisaged being drawn into ultra running crewing, and like, we've been in like a park in Scotland, or he's at a track in Barcelona at like 1 a.m. going to get pizza with me after this 100-mile race. And
Excellent.
it's I was like, my wife and my mum have to do it, but he's embraced it, to be fair to him.
I love that more than most races. Yeah, ultra running kind of brings in that team aspect, especially you draw your family into. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it is a team sport almost. Like, kind of need that support sometimes. And my wife came out to India. She she got like the GB team accreditation and stuff, and they gave her a bit of kit, which was pretty nice. And she got to be there as part of that, which was good and fun.
Should we go to the Wendover Woods 50? So as you're on the starting line for this race, you've already got 2 course records this year. Are you thinking about that? And I suppose, are you aware of the splits or the pace that you need to do to potentially win the race and B, hopefully get the course record? I'm just curious what the plan was.
I do a very quick, what's the average pace to get the course record, and that's kind of all that I really like check beforehand. So I'll sort of have an idea of what the time is and what the average pace, and that's kind of about it. With Wendover, it obviously rained quite significantly like the couple of days before, and so I went in thinking, oh my god, like, this is going to be really hard, really slippy, really muddy. Actually, on the day, it was nowhere near as bad as we thought. I'm not gonna say that I just missed it, spoiler alert, because of the conditions. It was just, that was the course drained really well. But so it's kind of like but yeah, and same with like Chiltern Hills and 100 Hills around. Yeah, I'd check what the average split was, because when I'm running, I just have the map up on my watch display. I don't actually have pace. Occasionally you'll catch a glimpse of what the K split was or whatever, but that's about it. And so if you sort of have a semi idea of where you're at, and then Wendover, like I thought I had it at one point. Like I was like, oh, this is gonna be good. And then the last lap, just a few too many cramps, and missed it by 44 seconds, which I think there's like the video of James like me coming across, and he's like, you missed it. I was like, yeah. Like it was it's hard, but I was happy with my effort at the end of the day. It was just that's what I had on the day, and I ran a pretty solid race, because I don't look at the splits, because I know for like Chiltern Wonderland especially, I think at like the halfway point I was about 5 minutes behind the split. But I thought I was well on course because my average pace was below it, right? So no one told me any of this, and it's only after like what James said afterwards. Because if he had been like, "Oh, you're behind," I'd be first of all really confused, but then maybe like your head goes down. So I try and like and then obviously like put like 5 minutes into it in the second half. So it just shows how much time can be on the table when you pace things right. And I think my laps at Wendover were pretty consistent. Obviously the last one, because if you've run around Wendover and you've done that loop, you'll know how brutal some of those bits are. Yeah, kind of trying to be consistent is really helpful in ultra running. And actually you can't bank time in some of these races. Maybe if like the first half is downhill and the second half is fully uphill, but it's like trying to be as consistent as you can really can help no matter where you are in the pack. Wendover was great actually, because I really like feed off like seeing other people sometimes as well. And so when you're doing the laps, it's kind of like, oh, well done, keep going, that sort of thing. And it kind of goes away. Sometimes like you like to be on your own, right, at the front, and there's kind of like no one else around you, and you can enjoy everything, and you want to be on the trails on your own. And then other times where actually having people around can be quite nice.
What's your passing etiquette like, Joe? Are you cough?
Yeah, it's awkward, isn't it? Because it's like everyone has the right to the trail. I'll do sometimes, we'll do the kind of like try and like, clear your throat, or like, it's usually like, excuse me, please, excuse me.
Are you a heavy breather, Joe? Or are you a bit more sort of like silent?
Maybe on the last lap at Wendover, my breathing was definitely getting heavy enough so that like, excuse me, please. Yeah. So like they hear like a, so they very much knew I was coming by that point. 99 out of 100 people are great at like, trying to stay out. I'll try and like, pass as, wide as I can, because we're all there to achieve our goals and whatnot. No one's like trying to get in the way on purpose or whatever. Obviously sometimes there's got someone who is really locked into their headphones.
Yeah. You don't want to scare people, do you?
No, exactly, as well, right? Especially like because and I've spoken multiple times on various podcasts around women's safety and running and things like that. You take it for granted as a man sort of running around the trails at night or, like when it's dark or whatever. And so, yeah, you don't want to make anyone feel uncomfortable.
What's your shoe of choice? I was trying to zoom in on your Instagram and look at all your race pictures to go, what is a smoking fast guy? What are cool guys wearing on the trails right now?
Cool guys.
That's on the quick 5, Eddie.
Oh, is it? Oh, God, I've not read those, Joe.
I'll think of another question. Don't worry.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
so I've used a few different shoes if you want the sort of shoe lowdown, because I'm a bit of a bit.
I could tell because there's an array. There's not
geek.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I do sort of get into this shoe talk or whatever. Not too much because it's a bit tedious, right? Like, hot take is that premium trainers or super trainers or whatever is the biggest scam going in running at the moment. Like, the Nike Premium Vomero, it's like 250 quid shoe that you don't even race in. No thanks.
Okay.
Anyway,
yeah.
So it's like, So what I race in, I like the Adidas one, the Speed Ultra Pro, whatever it's called. But the problem with that is the grip is dreadful.
The grip is dreadful.
Like, absolute garbage. So that's only good for like super dry trails. So the one that I used at Wendover and Chiltern for longer ones is the Norda 005.
Oh, okay. I'm hearing more and more about these. I was looking at it this morning, actually, going...
It's expensive.
Is it? Okay.
Is the problem. I managed to get 20% off discount code or whatever at one point, like from one shop somewhere because it was on offer, but it's pricey, but it's good. Like, I really like it because I think, and it's even on the road stuff as well, where like I can't wear like the Nike Alpha Flies for like over 50k. I think they're a bit too, like, the rigidness gives me really bad foot pain. I think it's the same in some of the trail ones. Like, I've worn like the North Face super shoe before and it just gave me a bit too much foot pain.
They're too heavy. Yeah, I find them really heavy too and quite rigid.
And so the Norda one is great because it's not got a plate in it, but it's got the super foam and they're really light.
Oh, it's the same as the On Cloud Pro Trail ones as well. That
I've wanted to try them.
Yeah,
actually.
if you like, I love those, but I don't like a plate on the trail because I find it too stiff. So we might be able to. You size 6.5, we can change. Get the
not quite, unfortunately.
Have the ons still got the funny holes in the midsole?
You can't see them, or I've just crushed them with my weight.
Okay.
But that's interesting. That's interesting. What's your road shoe?
Road shoe go-to. I wore the Adios Pro 3s for India, but the Pro 4s are even better. So yeah, Adidas. I do train in Vaporflies because they're a lot cheaper sometimes. Like, you can get like a pair for like 120 quid or whatever. So I'll sometimes do like the faster sessions in Vaporflies, the longer sessions in the Adidas. So yeah, not kind of too brand loyal there.
But I think that's really important as a trail runner, is actually to find, I tell most men, there's no right shoe, it's different conditions. I need one for all these different conditions. But it's actually true because like even Wendover and Chiltern Wonderland, like Wendover you could sort, because if you do stack it, you're relatively you're going to go on your bum. It's relatively soft landing. It's something very different than if you're running in maybe Lake 50 and it's rocky. What you're going to want on your feet is completely different. Is completely different.
Speed Ultra, every trail. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, well, some people as well. It depends on how you run. If you're quite a 4-foot runner as well, the Speed Ultra is great. You run as fast as you, Gary.
Have you tried the new one, Gary? Because they've got deeper lugs, right? I think I saw.
I slipped into somebody's DM, but none of them showed up yet. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I'll definitely keep an eye for when they're on sale and get them in. Hopefully they've got a bit more grip. But yeah.
What does the rest of not the rest of 2025, but I guess 2026 is exciting, huge exciting times for the Turner family.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, things are going to change significantly at the end of February, start of March. So it's kind of not making too many plans. I'm doing the ARC 25, which is absolutely stacked. I keep trying to pick the races that don't. You're talking about like avoiding fields. Yeah,
you were the one whining at the beginning of the podcast, saying there's more people to race.
Now it's too stacked. I think I'm ranked like 10th in the UTMB rankings or something. There's a guy who's like got a 900 score in there. So real big dog. They may get a shock about how the coastal path is in terms of runnable, but the Arc 25 is pretty good actually, isn't it? Because there's like flat bits and stuff. So yeah, anyway, we'll see how that goes. And then obviously the Anglo-Celtic Plate in March, and very much a blank calendar after that in terms of seeing how things go and just not putting any pressure on needing to keep the running up. I'm very much open to having like a year off or whatever. There's a chance we might try and like go to a race somewhere, but yeah, kind of keeping it out there for now. Also waiting to see if there is a world championship in the road 100k announced or not, in which case obviously the GB selection would be great, but nothing at the moment.
You've shown this year though that your year didn't start, you pivoted a number of times this year, and you showed that you can be super versatile and you're super flexible and throw your hand and it doesn't phase you what the race is. So I think 2026 will just be into life as a family of 3, which is always a big change. But newborn babies are very malleable. They can move,
that's
mum and dad and fed, and it's much harder. Like it's not as hard. Like it's much harder when they're toddlers, because they have an opinion, whereas newborn babies just like cuddles.
Yeah, I mean, like, we're obviously going to get like a running buggy and things, more so just so that either, if I wouldn't feel guilty about going out for like, just a quick double run, or also so my wife can get out as well, just so to have like 30 minutes or so, because she does like a normal amount of running. So she'll occasionally do like, we've done like half marathons together, or she'll do like, we went to the Cat 100, which is a UTMB World Series race a few years ago. That's my worst race I've ever done in my life. My quads were gone. I had to walk the last 10 miles. I went from like 7th place to like 26th. But anyway, it's like, but she did what they called quite unhelpfully the easy race. And it was like a sort of an 8K race that sort of like went like up a bit of a hill and then down. And she came second. And so she got on the she's like, so the running joke in the house is that obviously she's got on the UTMB podium, and I'm nowhere near it. So it's but if she won, the winner got this giant pretzel, and she was very disappointed to miss out on that. She just got like a silly lunchbox or something.
Stuff of dreams. I can just see you, Joe. Buggy cushion. Is it the Bug Hunter Waters Park on your local park on your?
Oh yeah, Bug Hunter Waters. Yeah, it's literally 800 meters from my house, so it's a really good one to have as like if I have like a 5K rep or something, I can go and start.
I wonder what the buggy PB is for that course.
I joked about like, can I try and win it with a buggy one time? Sometimes it's not the most deeper fields, but then it's like I don't know how
the baby's cheeks.
The baby sort of just like sort of can...
I did all when I trained for the Anglo-Celtic Plate with a buggy, and I got the strongest hamstrings because you're always under tension. And I actually find the faster you push the buggy, the smoother ride the baby has, because you just kind of like
there's like a couple of like there's like a U-turn, and there's like some gravelly.
You'll get so good at it. You'll get so good at it. I could turn that buggy like with my little finger.
Put like the handbrake on.
Yeah. I took the brake off. It weighed the pram down. I got my husband to take the brake off. We didn't bother with brakes. Freewheeling. Evie was freewheeling. Workout of the week, we ask our guests every week for a little bit of inspiration. Do we need to do a caveat here or some sort of disclaimer for Joe's workout? Be kind.
Well, I enjoyed it.
Joe.
Yesterday we got tagged in, so Joe, people do listen. Reese, he's a friend of mine actually and a listener. He did the workout of the week and he tagged us on our Instagram story. So yeah, people.
I mean, if anyone wants to give 40k in the morning before my 3k threshold to go, please do and let us know how it goes. One session that I always like is like K on, K off is quite nice. Like sort of do, up to 10 of those. So it can be up to 20k of effort, but you can obviously just do less. That's always quite fun. So it's kind of like 1k at like, if you use kind of marathon pace as a guide, so you do like 1k maybe like just below it and then 1k a bit above it. So you're kind of like floating the recoveries. That's quite a fun one. So if like, your marathon pace was like, doing like, 320k on the on and then a 340k or something on the off. So that's sort of like pace. So you got that pace differential that can sometimes be quite good as a nice like aerobic session. Gets you quite fit.
And it's quite a good one as well. If you don't do pace, you can do it on the trail. Just do it like time, like do 5 minutes, 4 minutes, breaks up a long run. And it also, I sometimes do that and it shows you can run a bit faster than you think you can. You're like, oh, it's tricky terrain this. But actually, if you put your mind somewhere else, the brain is great at then not concentrate. If you're running, you're like, I want to get better on technical terrain. It's actually a really good one as well to then put over and go, right, this 4 or 5 minutes, I'm actually going to push a little bit more. And I can run a little bit faster on this and then ease back for 4 or 5 minutes. Also, Joe, makes sessions go much quicker, doesn't it? If you've got a longer run to do, breaking up with a bit of pace and float.
Another one is just actually, I sort of mentioned it kind of briefly before around if you're feeling like good, like doing that sort of progression. And so kind of like, quite often if I'm having a good day, then I'll probably progress like 5K easy, 5K sort of steady, 5K steady plus, I guess is like, like where does steady end and threshold begin, or tempo or whatever. But just like, sometimes if it's like, oh, you know what, I'm feeling a bit fresher today, kind of pick up the pace a little bit and just sort of, challenging yourself, obviously not not killing yourself sometimes. And
as you get older, Joe, and into rusty old legs like me and Gary, every run will be an unintentional progressive run because you start so slow and you're only going to get hopefully feeling a little bit better.
With those ones, you've got to start into the wind so you get a tailwind at the end. That's the trick to it.
Okay. Well, you're in the flatlands too.
Like sometimes sessions do take a bit of semi-planning. I'll quite commonly check which direction the wind's blowing in the morning.
Should you do the quick five?
Yes.
Oh, I think I've got this information correct. Let me just double check over on Power 10. Your 2025 parkrun PB, if that's correct, is 16:14. Do you think you've got a PB in you for 2025 before the end of the year?
Actually, I think I did see like a fast park run on my plan at some point in the next 3 or so weeks. So yeah, maybe I will have to. It depends on the weather, but yeah, maybe I do. Yeah, let's say yes.
Okay, this is a spin on the marathon talk question, actually. If you had 6 months to train for a park run or a 5K, what kind of time do you think you'd get it down to?
I would like to think I reckon I could get close to 15. I'd go for that. I'm going to be bold just because the training group at the club on Tuesday nights, there's so many of the guys there. I reckon I'd be able to just, strike the mileage back, focus in. Yeah.
Wait for me, guys. Wait for me.
Yeah.
Oh, do you have a favorite type of race and distance?
I do somehow enjoy maybe it's just because it's the Anglo-Celtic play atmosphere, but like the North Inch Park, I don't know idea if you've ran up there when you did it. Yeah. Like it's just quite fun, right? It's like this 2.4K loop you run around 40 odd times. It's quite fun in a way. I don't know why. I think it's just like maybe the adrenaline of it. Valencia is amazing as well. Some of those big marathons are good in some ways in terms of like having a semi-crowd and atmosphere is great, but then there's obviously like those big events, going to the toilet and stuff beforehand becomes more of a pain, like getting into the corral at certain times, getting and the pressure that comes with it. So yeah, I reckon, in terms of I do enjoy like the ACP and a looped road 100K course. That's quite fun for me.
Favorite post-race treat?
I reckon pizza's probably up there, mainly because it's like super easy to get down most of the point. Again, I know it's obviously not hints of the question, and sorry, this isn't quick fire at all. But because I'll make pizzas like from scratch sort of every week pretty much. It's usually like our sort of Saturday night dinner because I'll do like
Have you got an oven?
In the morning.
A pizza oven too?
Not a pizza oven, no. So we're not quite stretched to that. It's kind of like, making do with the actual, just the oven that we've got. And that's usually our Saturday night dinner. So pretty much every week, because it's kind of like the refueling from the Saturday session and then pre-fueling for the Sunday long run. So it's big staple.
Okay, then. So you've got your pizza. You're on the sofa. It's a Saturday night. What are you binging on? What's your Netflix or any streaming service? What are you binging on at the moment? Is it Selling Sunset, Stranger Things? Where are we going?
So we're not huge on watching like dramas most of the time. My wife loves like documentaries and things like that. But what I have really gotten into recently that I'm absolutely binging through is Severance.
Oh my goodness!
Oh, okay. No, not
incredible.
That's good,
Love it.
It is. I think I started like maybe not even a week ago, and I'm like halfway through season 2. I kind of just have it on like when I'm like cooking or I'm having like a coffee in the morning before I go running. And
Yeah.
I've definitely like spent longer than I should like watching it at times. But like it's just good on when it's like in the kitchen. But it's so good.
I'm waiting. So I think we've watched everything. So there's been a bit of a gap. So I probably forgot aspects. It's obviously a very dark concept and story, but fundamentally nothing really horrendous has happened. And I'm just waiting for what are they doing? Why? What's it all about? Yeah, great.
Yeah,
Great
I mean,
to-
like, I don't know if it comes in season 2 or not yet, because I think there is going to be a season 3. I don't know what they're actually doing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you don't know what they're doing.
What's
and
it all
so,
for?
yeah.
Incredible.
Waiting for this big reveal. But yeah, I would absolutely recommend Severance to anyone.
Good shout. Okay, it's Instagram story music time. Joe, you get to choose
Ooh.
our Instagram story and post music. What's it going to be?
I should have put more thought about this. Like, I've been on runs listening to this podcast, thinking, "Oh, this is what I'd have as the music," and now it's come. Ooh,
Are you a metaler, indie kid, dance?
I'm very much in the kind of like emo kid from the mid 2010s sort of thing, like sorry, like mid 2000s kind of all those sorts of bands.
So what
you
is
know, and,
that?
like,
We
it's
like,
like when like when like Fall Out Boy, Taking Back Sunday, My Chemical Romance, Jimmy
Yeah.
Eat World, all the Funeral for a Friend, those sorts of bands, and like sort of metal as well. My like childhood was going to gig, not childhood, but like 16 to 18 was just going to gigs all the time. Actually, like I quite like a lot of like electronic stuff as well. That's quite kind of atmospheric when you're sort of out on the trails and things. So maybe something like "Lift Me from the Ground" by San Holo is quite good. And I think they're Australian. They were big in Australia. Like when you're out in the sort of the music scene out there. And like Triple J Radio, I'm not sure if you guys know that, but it's pretty pretty varied stuff.
I'm going to have to put that on my little playlist. I've got a 10 times 3 minutes later, so I'll give that a whirl.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I'm watching
Sweet.
the advert for Severance while you were dilly-dallying over your choice of music, and it looks really good. It looks a little bit scary. He's running down a corridor.
There's lots of corridor running.
And they're going, he's got incredible hair. It's not dissimilar to you, Joe. If you went for a little side,
What's his name? Like Adam Scott or something? Is that his name?
Is it his actual name or the actor?
The actor.
The actor. Welcome back.
He was in Parks and Rec as well. Another great.
Yeah, he's like usually like got really unserious roles, right? So it's kind of weird to see him.
Mark is promoted to lead a team who've had their memories surgically divided.
It's not like jump scare though, Eddie.
Scary? No, okay.
No, it's
okay.
not jump scare.
I've sent it to Bryn to do. He'll watch one episode and he's my rating advisor. He pushes me beyond boundaries I didn't know that.
The break room. Oh my goodness me. Yeah, that is quite sinister.
But yeah, it's not jumpy. It's just like a kind of like sort of psycho thriller sort of thing.
Yeah.
There was one jump scare, actually, one episode I watched this morning, and like very much. But usually it's just like, oh, it's a bit creepy. That's about it.
Okay.
Yeah, I
creepy.
can't wait for season
Christmas
3.
Creepy. Yeah. Oh, Joe, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your time with precious lunch break. Hopefully you're going to get lunch because it's what day? Are we Tuesday? It's Mega Tuesday. You could get that.
It is
fuel
Mega
on board.
Tuesday. Yeah, no, I'm gonna have to get the fuel in now. I sort of had like half a bowl of chili beforehand, and I'll go reheat it again and finish it afterwards.
Let's go again. Thank you for sharing us a little bit. I loved hearing about sort of like just how your 2025 has gone, how you've handled it, the ups and downs as well. I feel I know you a bit better now, and I'm super excited for 2026 will be a different year, but we'll see Team Turner out on the trails with a buggy, which will be lovely. And whatever the next few years hold, just really nice to get to know you as a person as well as not just somebody that is smoking fast. And I think a lot of people will have learned a lot of the hard work and dedication that goes into working full time and running these super fast times as well. Kudos to you, because I find 2:45 minutes a day sometimes hard to do. So amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely comes from having something wrong in my brain, probably, to keep it up. But it's sacrifices, right? Like it's I don't go to the pub as much as maybe other people do, which sometimes is at the.
I should go to the pub less. You are right.
No, you should go to the pub more. Absolutely, no. Like being social, actually, it's seeing other people because it's good to get that balance right, and sometimes we don't, but it's good to try and, especially in the holiday period, try and get the balance maybe more in
Oh.
the favor of the social element. I think that's more, and also like as driven as I was been. So I remember like after Wendover, so I had like sort of a break planned, and it was raining, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm gonna cycle to the gym and come home, and it was really cold, and I got 5K to the gym on my bike, and I was like my feet were frozen. I just turned around and went home. I was like, it's not worth it today because I don't need to. And so, just as if anyone doesn't have motivation, even some days, some of us that do have ironclad motivation, sometimes it's just not worth it, and you can just actually be like, you know what, it's better to just stay at home.
Pizza and Severance, episode 14.
Exactly. So yeah, don't, especially over Christmas, don't feel bad about chilling out a bit, I guess, unless you've got a massive race in January.
Unless you're doing the spine or the arc, then
Yeah.
sorry, you gave up
Ignore
your
that
Christmas
advice.
when you pressed enter. That was all over. Best of luck, Joe, and
thanks,
looking
guys.
forward to
good luck.
best of luck for the next few months as well. Hope it all goes smoothly, and catch up again with you in 2026.
No, thanks a lot. It's been a pleasure.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.